Good morning and welcome to Coffee Talk. I have legitimately the worst head cold, and to top that all off, I pulled something in my neck here, and so I am falling apart. The downside to 40, folks. Okay, so sometimes I try to give a lot of thought to the whole be who you needed when you were younger. One of the things that I did when I was young is I held on to the mistakes that I made. I didn't have any accountability for other people, but I would beat myself up inside, which would in turn, ironically, make me more destructive. Go figure. I never said I was rational, folks. And if there is one thing that I could tell my younger self, it would be take the time to listen and be still in why you made the mistakes that you made. Because we all make mistakes, but you cannot learn from the mistake if you do not allow yourself to own it. If you're constantly running from it, if you're constantly defending, if you're constantly looking to shift blame, you cannot learn anything from your mistakes. And our mistakes are there to teach us. That is exactly why we make mistakes, so we can learn to do it better on the next part of our journey, right? So if you look at life in small slices, like a cake, I love cake. Whatever mistakes you make on this part of your journey are there to teach you for the next leg of your journey. If you never are still enough to truly own your mistakes and really get right with yourself, why did I make that decision? How could I have done it differently? What would the outcome look like if I had done this versus that? Did I need to say that? Could I have said that differently? Whatever it is, if you don't take the time to do that, you are making these mistakes in vain. They are literally there to teach you. I wish that I could go back to myself, my younger self, and say, Jamie, you're making the mistakes. We know you're making them. Take the time to own them so that you can learn, and it won't take you a decade to get out of this miserable space you're in. Maybe I would have only been there for 2 years as opposed to almost 12. I was so defensive and so angry that I never allowed myself to learn from the mistakes that I was making. And if you're not learning, you can't grow. So I literally spent over a decade of my life basically just stuck. Here's the ironic thing. I want you to really listen to the irony here, okay? There was a big part of me I struggled with weight when I was young, right? You guys know that. We've talked about it before. Middle school was not good to me. And I had a hard time with my mom about it. So I had all these issues, body dysmorphia and all of these things. The decade that I was miserable, I was so skinny. Because this miserable person didn't really eat that much. I was so skinny. Yet I was miserable. I was hurting people around me. I was not taking any time to learn from my mistakes. I just kept making mistake after mistake after mistake with no accountability, no ownership, which means no growth. So I was stuck, miserable. And the ironic thing is I had the body, quote unquote, that I so desperately tell myself I want now, which, Jamie, 40 and 3 kids is not going to have the body you had at 20, but whatever. I'm working on it. And I was miserable. And I mean miserable. So often we don't even appreciate the things that we have, that we think that we want, because we're too busy chasing other things that'll never make us happy. I totally digress though, because the important message that I want to convey to you today is this. You will make mistakes. You have. You probably are right now. And you will again. It is a necessary part of life. Nobody avoids making mistakes. The beautiful thing about them is they are there to get you back onto the right path where you are meant to be. If you lean into your mistakes, if you find time to be still, really own them. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I react that way? Allow yourself to learn and grow from the mistakes that you're making. They will work for you. Put your mistakes to work for you. I'm telling you. It's not easy. But neither is hearing anything I'm saying from underwater, which is how I feel. And 40 pounds of pressure right here. And 60 pounds of snot. So, there's that. My sweet boy. Okay. I really want you guys to think about what I said today. We spend so much time running and deflecting and defending from our mistakes when they are there to teach us, to prepare us for the next part of our journey so that we don't continue to make the same mistakes, choose the same people, get into the same situation, take the same dead-end job, whatever it is. Lean into it, own it. Don't be afraid to own even the ugly parts of your journey. Lord knows I have. Ugh. Did you listen to the podcast last week? That was a tough one. For those of you who have never listened to my podcast, you can go to iTunes or play.it and look up Coffee Talk Live. Last week, I talked to Kayla, and we talked about our journey of coming together through infidelity. Granted, I was super young, but it was a mistake that I needed to learn from. And that woman extends an amount of grace that you got to listen. It's amazing. Anyway, I love you guys so much today. It's Thanksgiving week. So much to be thankful for, starting with you guys. I love you so much. Have a great day.